in any question like this, it's really handy when you've got lots of pieces of information to write down the information as you go, and then you can put it together into an equation that will help you. Okay? So let's read it together. Calculate the total cost. That's the first thing. What I'm after is the total cost. Okay, that's worth writing down because they will ask you all kinds of different things, right? For instance, later on they'll ask about profits or a total amount obtained or all these different quantities. You want to know exactly what you're calculating. Number one, 600 shares. So we know what those are. A market price of $4.65. Okay, you're going to be writing market price a lot, so I'm okay if you abbreviate it. Brokerage, there you go. There's that fee that the stockbroker is charging, is 2.5%. Okay, so now we've got all our information. How do we combine it together? Right, well, the easy part is just how much do all of the shares cost altogether? That's a simple calculation, isn't it? What do I do? How do I get all of the shares when I buy them all? They're $4.65 a piece, and I'm getting 600. So what should I write down? Good. Okay, calculator, right? So you get that out. This is going to give you a number. Yes? 2790. Great. Okay, you can verify that. Right? Now that's the first stage. That's how much the shares themselves cost. Now we have to work out what the cut is. Okay? So I would write down brokerage. And it's a 2.5%, so I want that as a decimal so I can stick it into my calculator. 2.5% as a decimal is 0.025, isn't it? Not 0.25, be careful. So that's the 2.5% times, now it's over the whole transaction, right? Namely this, okay? So times 2790. That'll give us a number. What do we get? You want it as a decimal, right? So make sure you press your SD button if you get it as a fraction. I'm getting $69.75. Yeah? Cool. Okay. So if that's what this part of the transaction costs, and there's the cut, well, the question was total costs. What's incurred by you? Well, it's the sum of those, isn't it? Okay? This plus this. And that looks to me like it'll be 2859. Check that out. I think that's about right.
So,
yeah.
How often would shares usually be paid out?
It tends to be annually. But depending on the company, like for example, you might have heard big companies, they'll release quarterly reports, right? And the reason why is because they'll pay out quarterly. So it depends a little bit on the size of the company, the value of the shares. You know, these kinds of shares, very, very small. If you buy shares in like Apple, they're hundreds of dollars each, right? So it kind of depends on all those kinds of things. Annual's pretty normal though, okay? All right. Now, you might be thinking, oh, do I have to write this every single time? The short answer is no. What am I looking for as a marker, right? If I would say, did this person get this question right or not? This wouldn't be a 1-mark question because there's quite a lot of work into it. I'm not just looking for this number. I'm looking for how it was constructed, right? However, if you don't put these bits down, particularly you're working out total cost, you can really get yourself into trouble and not know where you went wrong. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's have a look down the page. Actually, over the page. Let's have a look at number 7. Let's do 7. Again, let's walk through it word by word, okay? Calculate the amount obtained. Great. That's the first thing I'm after. Amount obtained. So this time, you're getting money. You're receiving money, not paying it. Okay? You're not incurring a cost. You're going to get some money back out of this, right? We want to work out how much. Again, coincidentally, 600 shares. And we're selling them at $2.46 a piece. So that's the market price. $2.46 market price, okay? Brokerage, this time it's a flat rate. So that's nice. We don't have to do any real calculation on that. Okay. So now, again, I've got my setup here. Now I'm going to work it out. Just like before, I want to work out what's the total quantity that I get from all of those shares, right? So I'm still going to do that in much the same way. 600 by the individual unit price. No problem. What do we get? Anyone going to beat me there?
1476.
1, 4, no decimal places?
No.
Cool. There you go. Fine. So that's how much you stand to make as a profit. But the broker takes their cut, don't they? Right? So when I write here, or I should say rather than total, when I write amount obtained, okay, I'm not adding these together. I'm not adding them. You get this, that gets handed to you, but then you have to pay the broker. So you don't get all of it. You lose that $29, okay? It's such a subtle difference, yeah? What's that? 30, 46, 47? There you go. Okay? Little difference. But can you see, if you don't understand what's going on, you put these numbers together in the wrong way and you'll get something completely different at the end. Make sense? Okay, let's move on to yield, because we talked about that before. Let's have a look at 15. Okay, again, let's get the important information, right? Dividend, 10 cents each. I should have said 10 cents first. Okay, there's my first piece of crucial information. The shares have a market value, market price of $3.10. Okay, $3.10 market price. Okay, now, what was the idea here to get the dividend yield or the percentage yield? I'm just going to say yield. Okay, it was to get this as a fraction, as a proportion of this, right? So if you go back to where you wrote this all down, like just up above on the page, it was dividend divided by market price, right? That's what we wrote down, yeah? So I can do this in two ways. I need them both in the same units, right? I can do it all in cents. That would make this 310 cents. Or I could do it all in dollars. That would make this $0.1. $0.10, right? So either way is fine, so long as you get the same units. I'm going to go for cents because I don't like decimals. I'm a bit discriminatory like that. So, dividend over market price. That'll give you a fraction. I want a percentage. Like so. Okay. So you reach for your calculator.
0.03225806.
Okay. Wait, hold on a second. Now, 0.03. So if you just do this part, right, you'll get your 0.0322 and so on. When you multiply by 100, that'll give you your percentage, right? So that's 3.22. Now, did they ask for a rounding? Did they ask for a rounding? They didn't, did they? Let's do it to 2 decimal places. That's pretty safe. There you go. Okay. That's pretty simple. Did you notice, by the way, I could have gone in reverse. For instance, I might have said, what else should we pick? Let's do this as a separate example underneath. Suppose I said to you, okay, your market price was $3.10. That's what you got before. Okay, and you get given, maybe you read in the the company's annual report that we're giving a yield, a percentage yield of, let's call it, say 5%. It was a good year. Okay, 5% yield. So you want to work out, well, actually, how much money is that for me? Okay, how many cents am I going to get off each share? How would I work this out? It's still going to use this formula, but it's going to be different. Any suggestions? Before we wrote this, right? Yield equals dividend over market price. That's what you did, right? So this time, instead of this being unknown, we know this. Right? We know this, and we know this. This is what we're trying to find. So I think I heard you're going to have, it's going to be a swap, right? You're going to have 5% over here, right? The dividend is what I don't know. That's what I'm after, right? And then you've got your $3.10 here. Okay. So how do I get this? What's going to happen? I want to make the dividend the subject, right? Okay. So it's going to be, yeah, the $3.10 is going to come over here. I'm going to multiply by that, right? So it'll actually be 5% of $3.10. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? In your calculator, that'll be 0.05 because you put it in as a decimal. And then what do you get? I think you're going to get, will it be 0.155? So that would be, this is cents, isn't it? Right? So So that would actually be 16 cents, wouldn't it? Because they're not going to pay you half a cent. So that's the way that works. Can you see? You can use this equation. I mean, we could do this again. I could tell you the percentage yield and the dividend, and you'd have to work out the market price. Okay. In fact, if you turn over the page to page 196, you'll see a table. Have a look at question 21, for instance. Okay. You've got those columns there: face value, market price, dividend, and yield. Yield, dividend, market price. There's our three pieces, right? They ask you to fill in the gaps of this table. All they're looking for is for you to put the right values into the right spots and then solve. That's it. Very simple. Okay.